Story 1. This story is set 19 years ago. I remember the exact time frame because I was working at this place when the September 11th attacks happened. This place was the office of an interior designer in the big city I lived in. I'd been looking for tech work, and an acquaintance had recently been hired as office manager, so she brought me on. I was happy to land a job providing tech support and to be earning a decent hourly wage with flexible hours. Little did I know how bizarre this place was. How bizarre, you ask? Well, my acquaintance, the new office manager, was never in the office. The designer, let's call him Boss, was also rarely there. Let me tell you a little about Boss. He was an older guy, 60s easily, which was ancient to my 22-year-old self. He constantly ground his teeth and clenched his jaw. He always seemed distracted, and had a general vibe of just being weird. So, I get this new gig and pretty immediately find myself alone in a nice big office space, with no onboarding, no training, and nothing to do. Literally come to work, surf the web for hours, go home or to class. Every now and then, Boss would randomly come in, ask me to do something vaguely tech-related, like create a spreadsheet for client names. And then he would ask me to show him how to do the same thing. I'd do it, he'd be thrilled and give me a bonus on the spot. Sweet, right? Right. Until Boss started coming in and losing his mind about random things, like the green ink on his printed Excel spreadsheet was the wrong hue, or the office manager had called in, and why the heck did she need the day off? Or any number of other random things, none of which were my fault and many of which I had absolutely nothing to do with. Boss was ripping me a new one whenever he was in the office, which became more frequent. I learned from the office manager that Boss had been cleared to return to working more hours by his psychiatrist. Wait, what? Turns out Boss was never around when I started because he had a mental breakdown and had been advised to step back from work. So the distractedness, meds, the teeth grinding, uncontrollable stress reaction. He even did it in his sleep. It was so bad his dentist was concerned about his jawbone having microfractured. Oh great. So the guy gets back into the swing of things and takes everything out on me. I'm 22, my wife's in grad school, I need this job. But I'm feeling the stress, I'm always thinking about work, stewing over the last thing I got unfairly yelled at about. I'm waking up 3 or 4 times a night for no reason I can think of. My wife says I toss and turn when I do sleep. This goes on for a week or 2. Then Boss walks in with a new, handheld digital voice recorder. Hands it to me, says, when I record a voice note, I want it to be saved in there as Boss, date, note. And I need you to show me how to use it. Okay, this is actually in my wheelhouse, so I take the recorder, grab the manual, and start tinkering. I came up with a quick how-to curriculum, and then read a note in the manual. Voice recordings are saved in the device as VR time, date, stamp VRN. Once you import them to your PC, you may rename them as required. So Boss's initial request is not possible with the hardware, but there's a simple workaround. I document that as part of my curriculum and go sit with the boss to go over it. Naturally, he blows up that he can't rename the files on the device. He can't believe I can't figure this one thing out. Did I even look at the manual? He knows it can do what he wants. I just have to do my job and learn how to make the changes. And then, you go home right now, and don't you come back until you have figured out how to do what I want. Cue my relieved but gleeful malicious compliance. I go home. And since I know that what Boss is asking is impossible, I never even consider returning. I don't call in the next day I'm scheduled. I don't go in. I try to forget the whole ordeal. I do begin to sleep like a baby. 2 weeks pass. I've moved on, looking for another job, doing school, normal stuff. I get a call from Boss, out of the blue. Hey, you haven't been in a while. Is everything okay? When are you coming back to work? I've got some tech issues I need your help with. I'm floored. This guy is talking to me like the last time we spoke he wasn't screaming at the top of his lungs, spewing spittle everywhere. So I say, dude, you told me not to come back until I figured out that voice recorder thing. So I didn't come back because that thing is never going to do what you want. Boss. Oh, that. I took it back to the store. So I'll see you tomorrow. Me? Nope. I figured I was fired, so I've got another job. Please mail me my last check, but don't call me anymore. Thanks, bye. And I disconnected the call laughing. It never felt so satisfying to be unemployed. Story 2. I work at a medium-small jewelry store with 8 other people. Today, my boss tried pulling one of his typical power moves by loudly berating me in front of my coworkers and customers. It didn't work out well for him. As a goldsmith, my job is to create, repair, renew, and adjust various items to customer specifications. Even though I've been in the industry for about 20 years, I'll be the first to admit to my limitations. I don't know everything and I need help sometimes. Unfortunately, my boss is a bit of an alpha and feels the need to assert dominance in the most petty ways. One of his favorite methods of demeaning people at work is to loudly declare how easy a repair is and how little time it would take him. Today, I found I had a particularly difficult repair and asked him for advice. I was told to do it the way I assumed, but then my boss noticed a few coworkers were around and decided to squeeze a little posturing into his explanation. Boss, and you just reinforced the link by the clasp before running the first axle through. I know it's damaged, but it'll work just fine, and now that he sees he has an audience, I don't know why you're even asking. This job would only take me 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Now I knew I was going to be working on this bracelet for at least twice that time because it required 4 cuts, 4 solders, 4 drilled holes, 2 pins, an acid soak, filing, polishing, and an ultrasonic bath. His intention was for people to see it took me much longer than 10 minutes and assume I was slacking or inexperienced. The store was quiet when I answered. Me? Really? 10 minutes? You should do it then. I'd love to learn how to be as good as you. Boss. You should know this. I'm not going to pay to teach you what you should already know. So quiet now. Everyone's listening. Even the sales girls and customers went silent to hear the rest of the exchange. Me? Of course, I wouldn't expect you to. I'm willing to forfeit an hour of pay to learn how to do this so quickly. I'll still work after the 10 minutes. Boss, I'm actually very busy and I'll pay you 2 hours of my wages to teach me for 10 minutes. Earlier, you spent 20 minutes lecturing a coworker on the housing market in our city, so surely you can find 10 minutes to complete this repair while I watch and learn, right? The job isn't due until tomorrow. I'll stay late with everyone. We can even bring in the other goldsmiths to learn on my dime. No, I have payroll to do and, a bunch of other jobs. At this point, he's backing away and the rest of the staff has turned their heads to hide their smiles. Just do your job. How about 3 hours of pay? No answer as he scurried off. It felt so good. Job ended up taking about a half hour spread through the day. He avoided me until I finished. Story 3. A bit of background. I own a web hosting and a managed service provider company, which I've set up 2 years ago with some friends with similar interests. We have a few serious clients, but things have been sailing smoothly and quietly for some time. We're not a big company, and we only spend a few hours a week doing actual work for it. So we have phone support. Even though nobody is almost ever physically at a desk when we get a call, we only get calls maybe twice a week. We pick up, walk to a PC, or grab a laptop in the meantime. Sometimes it takes a minute after picking up the phone before we can actually help. Most of our clients know this and have no problem with it at all. We usually provide quick solutions and most of the time we do support for free. The actors. Me, obviously. Karen. Angry lady, client, company's administrative person. She was just hired 2 weeks ago. Boss. Client boss that I've had regular contact with. The story. Me, insert standard corporate greeting. Karen. Hi, this is Karen from X company. I have issues sending email. Me. I'm sorry to hear that. If you give me a second, I'll walk to my desk so I can look into it. Now, it's important to note that we know most contacts from the bigger clients and are on a first-name basis with most. Although we are not a big company, we provide services tailored to our clients' specific needs. As such, we have regular conversations over email discussing their services. This was the first time I spoke with Karen since she got hired recently. Karen, why aren't you at your desk already? This is urgent and I need this sorted as soon as possible. We're not paying you for your time if you're slow and unhelpful. Screams internally already. I'm sorry, Karen. I'm just now arriving at my desk. I see you've been recently added to the mail system. Is this the first time you've tried sending an email from your... She interrupts me. No, I've sent many emails, probably more than you. I know how to send an email, okay? Possibly sounding a bit annoyed, I was going to ask if this is the first time you tried to send an email from your corporate email account. Yes, it is. Why? Could you tell me what email client you're using? I'm using my company's webmail client. Alright, that's good. Did you get any error message that you can tell me? Yes, I don't know what it is and I'm not at my desk right now. Give me a minute to look it up. I don't know why she wouldn't stay at her desk after giving me crap for it earlier. Karen? Okay, so the error message says her interpretation of the error without saying the actual error. The part where I jumped the gun and should have paid more attention. Me, it sounds like your inbox is full. Your company has a 50 GB shared mailbox limit. I can up the limit to 60 GB for the rest of the month so you can continue to use the email system while you archive some old mails by printing physical copies or move them to your company's cloud storage. Karen, I don't want to archive my email. Me, alternatively, boss could order extra storage for email. It isn't that big of a change in cost. It should be well within the budget. Karen, I would rather archive my email then. This is where finally my bell starts to ring and I decide to check on the usage report, and sure enough, disk usage spiked over the last 2 weeks or so. For her mailbox only, so I decided to ask some questions to get better insights into what is really going on. Have you been getting any spam emails recently? Yes, a lot of these non-deliverable have been popping up in my mailbox since I got hired. I was meaning to call for that too, but I have just been so busy that I just delete them. I delete about 250 of them every morning. Note, our system caps the sender's limit for email accounts to 250 a day to prevent our system from being used by spammers. You may see where this is going. Me. Oh, that's not good, and this has been going on since you were hired. Karen. Yes, it's really annoying. Please do something about it. Me. I will look into it now. Please stay on the line while I put you on hold. I dig up the simple mail transfer protocol log for her user account, and sure enough, every day for the past 2 weeks or so at 0 o'clock, 250 emails are sent. Like clockwork. Most of the sent emails return as non-deliverable mail due to spam flags. Now, this is a mailbox that they use for their administration, meaning they get their invoices and appointments in there. She recently gained access rights to the mailbox, which is when things started to go wrong. Me? Hi, Karen. Are you still on the line? Karen's phone plays hold music. In the meantime, I start investigating further. I change her password and gather everything I can find from our system regarding Karen administration mailbox and normal user mailbox. 20 minutes pass without the holding music taking a break. It's really annoying, so I hang up and call back. Boss picks up. This is where things start going to heck. For Karen, boss, insert client's corporate greeting. Me, my corporate greeting. I was just on the phone with Karen. I think her mailboxes might have been compromised for the past 2 weeks. Boss. Oh, that's interesting. I'm with Karen right now. She has been in my office for the past 20 minutes telling me how you were rude to her and that you refused to help her, and that we should find a different company for our needs. Me. I'm sorry for any inconveniences that I may have caused. However, a hacked administration mailbox is a very pressing matter. I have spent the past half hour digging through logs, and I've come to the conclusion that almost directly since Karen was hired, spam started to be sent from the inbox. I think she might have used a weak password. Boss. All right, hold on. Boss. Returns from a 5-minute hold. Okay, so I have asked Karen about this, and she used generic dog name as her password. What does need to be done to take care of this issue? We do enforce a default password policy for all accounts on our systems. Our clients can disable this for email accounts by checking a box on the email account. Since Karen is their company's administrator, she was also tasked with creating and deleting email accounts for their colleagues. She edited her own email account to allow for insecure passwords. Her dog's name obviously didn't match the requirements, and she thought it was unfair for another company to dictate what password she could use for her corporate email account. Me. Well, I have spent the past half hour looking for information regarding this breach. It is evident that spam has been sent from corporate domain. I cannot find any evidence that the hackers accessed mail in the mailboxes. However, I cannot conclude that they didn't either. Sigh, so you're saying they may have our entire administrative archive due to Karen's poor judgment calls for passwords? That is basically what it boils down to. Unfortunately, there is no way to know this for sure. We don't log access to specific emails or folders. Only authentication attempts, sent mail and received mail. I have no way of knowing if they downloaded or looked at any of your mail. I would advise you to change all passwords of every account with every site and system you use, just to be sure this doesn't result in any further breaches. That will take ages. I will task Karen and some others to start doing this directly. Well, we use a corporate password manager. This might be a nice solution for your company, as well as it would allow for you and your colleagues to store passwords securely and give extensive permissions to who can see which passwords. It'll also allow you to easily keep track of all accounts that your company has. And since you don't have to memorize the passwords, you can use different and very secure passwords for everything without any issues. Yes, please. Will you put an order in for me? I need this for all my employees. Will do. Anything else I can help you with? Yes, I need some accounts terminated, but I'll send them to you in a bit. Need to wrap things up here first. About 30 minutes later, I received a termination request for all of Karen's accounts. She apparently heard what boss said about her having to change all the company passwords and she refused. She was fired on the spot. I just now received a call on my personal cell from the boss. I believe I once gave it to him for an on-site job at his house back when I was just getting started. He thanked me for my directness and not actually trying to fight the claims of Karen over the phone. As outgoing phone calls are recorded from my client's side, the recording was able to be used as evidence in support of her termination, so she has no chance of trying to fight it and couldn't argue outside pressure caused her to get fired, as that is illegal in my country. I told him that I was happy to take care of all their business needs and hung up, feeling satisfied with my work for today. This concludes the revised version of the 3 stories, with grammatical and punctuation errors fixed, properly sized paragraphs, and mild alternatives for expletives. The content has been adjusted to suit YouTube Partner Program guidelines while maintaining the original word count and overall meaning of the stories.